If you are anything like me, sometimes you feel like your brain is like a million tabs open at once with social media pings, emails popping in your inbox, the laundry that you need to do, etc., etc. Now, I'd like you to imagine yourself achieving extreme focus and being able to keep your concentration for hours, where distractions just disappear and all the mental noise you have is gone. How does that feel? I firmly believe that focus is the key to unlocking a transformed life. A life where you can achieve anything you set your mind in every areas of your life, career, relationships, finance, etc. In this video, I'll show you how to kill procrastination by mastering the art of focus. I will be sharing 5 sneaky focus killers you might not even realize you have, along with some tips to overcome them based on my own experiences. Let's deep dive right away in the first mistake, which is the planning paradox. We all think we need a master plan to be productive, right? And here's the thing, having an unclear plan or no plan at all is the biggest mistake. I remember one day last year, it was a Saturday morning, when I started writing, I grabbed a coffee and sat down at my computer with the intention of working on my script. I ended up juggling between editing an old post, responding to comments, and browsing social media for inspiration. So it took me 2 hours to go through 10% of my script, and the crazy thing is that I didn't even realize that I was going off track. My mind made me think that it was absolutely the right thing to do. This lack of focus left me feeling quite frustrated and unproductive, and also made me feel overwhelmed. I realized that it was happening way more often than what I thought, and started asking myself, how can I make sure this never happens again? So after hours of research, trial, error, I found the solution that works extremely well, which is the mini plan. Before starting any work session, I now take 5 minutes to write down 3 specific tasks that I want to accomplish in a specific time block. For example, instead of being work on my script, it would be draft a detailed structure of my video, finalize the introduction, and find one relevant personal story to include in the next 30 minutes. And since I've been practicing this mini plan method, I've noticed a huge difference. My work sessions are way more productive, I get things done faster and with more clarity. Plus, the fact that I am checking off those completed tasks feels amazing. So the next time you feel like you decide to do a task, take 2 minutes, write down 3 to 5 specific things you want to achieve during the session, and add the time frame. I think having a clear roadmap like this will definitely keep you focused and motivated to get things done. Alright, let's talk about another sneaky focus killer, the emotional escape when we use distraction as a coping mechanism. We've all been there, where we feel overwhelmed by a project or stressed about a deadline, and suddenly that social media app or that snack look way more appealing. Emotions are very tricky, and our mind is a pro when it comes to avoiding challenge or hard tasks. Been there, done that. I remember the first presentation I had to give to senior executives at work. Big presentation, high stakes. Honestly, I was so nervous. So instead of finalizing my slides and practicing my delivery, I ended up taking the trash out, starting a laundry, vacuuming my whole place. It was a classic case of distraction as escape. The impact was that avoiding the situation through distraction only made the anxiety worse. It also left me unprepared and scrambling at last minute to get everything done. So here, the solution is to learn to identify your emotional triggers. Whenever you have something to do, pay close attention to how it makes you feel and what your mind is telling you to do. Then once you have identified the emotion and the urge to distract yourself, remind you of the big picture and what is going to happen if you don't get things done. In my example, I reminded myself that if I kept being distracted, I'd mess up my presentation and lose credibility at work. And this was enough to put me back on track. So here, I leverage a cognitive bias called loss aversion. It states that our mind tends to attach more importance to what we could lose than what we could win. So instead of telling myself, I need to prepare to kill it during my presentation and get more recognition at work, I told myself, if I keep being distracted, I will deliver a bad presentation and lose credibility at work. The impact is so much heavier. So next time you feel the urge to escape a challenging task through distraction, take a pause. Ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling right now? Is it anxiety, fear, or frustration? Take 3 deep breaths and write down your worries in a journal, as well as what is the big picture and what you could lose if you stay off track. Just a few minutes of self-awareness can make a big difference in your focus. Alright, on to mistake 3, the multitasking myth. We are all very tempted to do multiple things at once to get more done, like cooking and watching a video or check our phone during a meeting. But honestly, let's be real, how often does that actually work out? Personally, I always end up doing both things poorly. So I sometimes still fall for it, particularly at work. The other day, I fell victim to this myth myself. I was in a meeting which I had to really pay attention and I received a WebEx message. I was like, sure, let's see what the notification is about. So I opened it and by the time I read the whole thing, I was completely lost in the meeting. Plus, I was half paying attention to what I was reading and therefore didn't process the message fully. It was very frustrating because I ended up doing poorly both tasks. My focus was split between paying attention to the meeting and reading the message, which was the perfect recipe to messing everything up. I was even called out because someone asked me a question and I started scrambling because I was not paying attention. This last experience was quite of a wake-up call for me. Multitasking might feel efficient, but it actually kills focus. Now I just embrace single tasking and I am getting twice as much in half the time with way higher quality work. I dedicate focused time blocks to specific tasks. Trust me, it's amazing how much more you can get done and get a lot less stress. Single tasking will significantly boost your productivity and you will feel much more focused and in control throughout the day. Plus, the satisfaction of completing a task before moving on to the next is a great motivator to keep going. So the next time you have a long to-do list and feel like doing multiple things at once, just resist the urge to multitask. Instead, choose one task and dedicate a specific block of time to it. Turn off all notifications, silence your phone, and let your brain focus on that single task. You'll be surprised at how much more you can accomplish in a shorter amount of time. Alright, mistake 4, the Pomodoro struggle. There is a focus technique that is extremely useful when used properly. It is the Pomodoro technique. If you haven't heard about it, let me explain quickly. This consists in breaking your work into intervals, typically 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break. If you are not doing so, I would highly recommend you to start doing it because it maintains your focus and energy to peak levels for hours. So in theory, that sounds great, but for every Pomodoro user watching this video, you know what's the struggle. We get caught up in the time battle. We just fight the urge to check emails before the break ends, or we keep working past the timer, feeling guilty if we stop, or you just don't respect a 5-minute break and start working after a minute of break. So just like for planning, not using it or not using it well is a big mistake that could prevent focus and promotes procrastination. I used to be a total Pomodoro warrior, well, kind of. I'd set the timer for 25 minutes, but then I'd find myself constantly checking the clock, worrying about how much time was left. It was more stressful than helpful, to be honest. Sometimes I'd even keep working past the timer, feeling like I couldn't stop until I finished a certain section or not doing a break at all. And this constant timer battle actually made it harder for me to focus. I was more worried about the clock than the actual task at hand. Plus, those extended work sessions left me burnt out and unproductive. So the solution here, let go of the control. See the timer as a helpful guide, not a dictator. If after 25 minutes you feel like you need 5 more minutes, just go for it. As long as it's not like 34 more minutes, you're good. Respect your breaks. Use the full 5 minutes to truly step away from your work and come back refreshed. And by letting go of the timer obsession, I found that Pomodoro technique actually works really well. Those focused work sessions allow me to make significant progress on my tasks, and the short breaks help me stay energized and focused throughout the whole day. So the next time you use the Pomodoro technique, take a deep breath, relax, and trust the process. Focus on the task at hand during the work interval and don't worry about the clock. When the timer goes off, take a genuine 5-minute break without checking your phone, obviously. Get up, move around, grab a snack, do whatever helps you recharge. Remember, the breaks are just as important, if not more important, as the work sessions itself. If you are interested in more time management techniques, go check my video on it. Now let's move on to the fifth mistake, which is neglecting sleep. We all know sleep is important, but did you know it's actually the #1 key success factor for focus? When you're sleep deprived, your brain struggles to concentrate, remember information, and make good decisions. I remember a few years ago when I was studying exams to enter top-tier business schools, I used to spend nights working and studying, thinking that the more I did, the better it was, and that sleep was just a waste of time. I ended up being so tired that I couldn't maintain my focus at all, and my brain was fried. The impact is pretty bad. Lacking sleep not only killed my focus, but also affected my mood and my overall well-being. I was more irritable and stressed, which definitely doesn't help with productivity. So here, my suggestion is to prioritize sleep. Aim for 7 or 8 hours of quality sleep every night. Have a consistent sleeping schedule and try to disconnect from screens at least an hour before going to bed. Since making sleep a priority, I've noticed a huge improvement in my focus and my results. I can focus for longer periods, have a clearer mind, and feel more energized throughout the day. Plus, to be honest, I'm less cranky when I sleep well. So, evaluate your current sleep habits. Are you aiming for 7-8 hours of sleep each night? Do you have a consistent sleep schedule? If not, start making small adjustments. Try going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, even on weekends. Create a relaxing bedtime routine that helps you wind down before sleep. And by prioritizing sleep, you are investing in your focus, productivity, and overall well-being. And I know this one can be a little bit challenging, but trust me, it's an absolute game changer. And that's a wrap. You know now the 5 things that kill your focus that I'm sure you might not even have suspected. Not planning and being specific on the outcome and time frame when doing a task. Procrastinating because of emotional triggers. Multitasking, not using or misusing the Pomodoro technique, and not prioritizing on your sleep. Conquering distractions, staying focused, and eliminating procrastination is an art. It takes time and experimentation. Apply the principles I mentioned and I guarantee you will have incredible results. So take it step by step, give it a shot, and leave a comment below sharing one actionable tip you'll use to boost your focus. And if you're looking for more strategies to kill procrastination and more personal growth tips, make sure to subscribe, like, and interact with me in the comment section. Until next time, take care.